everybody, and welcome back to my channel, and thanks for clicking onto this video. Today I'm going to make one of my favorite side dishes. You see it a lot in Italy. People are selling them on carts on the street. My sister-in-law Felicia in Florida, she makes them absolutely delicious. So this is a recipe that I didn't get from her, but she gave me a couple of pointers because this is actually the first time that I'm making these, so I hope they come out good. I'm making Arancini, which is the Sicilian rice bowl. So it's one of my favorite dishes. I already started my stuffed shells. I have a pan of stuffed shells in the refrigerator. I cooked. I'm going to get ready to put those in the oven when we're ready for dinner. So I'm hoping these will be done by time we start dinner. So let me show you what you're going to need. It is a little bit of a process, so that you don't get crazy while you see all the stuff that I have here. So Overwhelmed, that's the word I wanted to use. So basically, I'm going to use the Italian arboro rice, which I have 4 cups of arboro rice here, and in a pot, which I have here, I have 8 cups of water. So we're going to get to that later. Right now, I'm going to make my ragu. But you need 4 cups of arboro rice. If you can't find arboro rice, you can use Japanese rice. And for any reason, if you can't find that, then you can use any kind of small grain rice would do good for this. But arboro rice is now very easy to find in supermarkets. I got about a pound of chopped meat. This is going to be for my my ragu. I got a pound of chopped meat. You need grated cheese. You need butter. You need fresh mozzarella. You need a half an onion. You need a couple of little sticks of carrots, 1 stalk of celery, a cup of frozen peas, bouillon cube, Italian seasoning, garlic, and saffron. And I'm using the string saffron, and I'm going to show you how you actually infuse that. And then I have my jar of passata, my red wine. You can use white wine on ragu or red. I prefer to always use red. So basically, this is all you're going to need for both the rice and the ragu. But the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to start our ragu. So come along with me and let's get started. Okay, so I got my pan heating up, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour a little bit of extra virgin olive oil in the pan. Okay, and I'm going to do some garlic. Now, normally I can use a cutting board, but I've been doing this for such a long time that I basically can just cut it like this.
Modern way, zip.
That one was a big piece. Okay. So we got that, and I'm going to get my little spatula. Okay, so we're going to just infuse the garlic a little. This is just a basic ragu. I mean, if you saw any of my other videos, it almost looks like you'll see that it's the beginning of making a bolognese, but it's on the same concept, but this is not going to cook for a long time. Okay, so next thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add my onion. I'm going to add half a cup of onion.
Get those onions out of here.
Lower this heat a little. And we're just going to sweat out the onions. We don't want to cook them. Just sweat them out a little. Lower your heat to medium because you don't want anything to burn. So we get rid of this. Okay. So those are sweated a little. Again, now I'm going to add my carrots and my celery. And we're going to sweat those out. Any good sauce or ragu, starting with carrots, celery, and onions, is really a good thing. You don't have to add sugar to your sauce to break the acidity. The carrots and the celery and the onions release enough sugar to break up the acidity. Okay, so we're going to let that cook for about a minute. Okay, we're going to let that cook for about a minute, and then the next thing we're going to add is we're going to add 1 pound of chopped meat in there. So let's just saute this. Got about another minute, and then when we come back, we'll be adding the chopped meat. Okay, so these have been sweating for about a minute or two.
I can feel it.
Yeah. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our pound of chopped meat. Now, if you wanted to, you could also use lamb. You can use veal. You can use pork. You can use a combination of the three.
Can you use chicken, turkey?
No. I would recommend not to. But on this particular dish, I was told that the best and the authentic way is to use just the ground beef. So we're going to actually make sure this is all cooked, mixing well. We're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. So let's add some salt and pepper.
It's so cool.
We'll add about a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. Take that away. Give it a stir. Now you can use tomato paste if you wanted to use like 1 small can of 8-ounce can of tomato paste and then add maybe a half a cup of water or a cup of water. Some people make their ragu that way. You can use crushed tomatoes, just to make sure that you crush the tomato. But today I'm going to be using passata, which is tomato sauce. So I'm not going to add the passata. And this is passata, and this is great sauce. You can use this for anything. Marinara, you can use it for a ragu, you can use it for a bolognese. I always keep about 8 or 10 jars of these in my house. They're always good to use. Even if I want to make a quick marinara, this is the one I go to. And then when I make my big Sunday sauces, I use a couple of these with crushed tomatoes and whole peeled tomatoes. But that's what we're going to be using today to make this ragu for the arancini.
Arancini, what the hell is that?
Arancini is rice. It's Sicilian rice ball.
Okay.
And I know the word orange is in there because arancini, I think it's because they come out, they look like an orange when they're done. But I'm going to be making them 2 ways today. I'm going to be making 2 shapes. I'm going to be making the rice ball shape in the shape of a ball. And I'm also going to be making the cone shaped one, which is the authentic shape of the arancini that you see a lot in Italy, especially in Sicily when you see them the street. Like in New York, you walk around the streets of New York, you see a hot dog vendor, you see the challah, they sell the challah bread and the challah meal and the rice. In Italy, you see side vendors selling rice balls, selling pizza, selling calzone. So it is a different lifestyle. So this is what you would see them actually serving on the streets of Sicily. So this is almost done. Okay. And I'm not going to use the whole jar of passata right now. I'm only going to use, I want to put in basically about a cup. So we're going to get that going. So to open this very, very quickly, hit the bottom until you hear it pop. And there you go. Keep the cap because if you remember, we're not going to use all this. We're going to use about a cup. I can basically eyeball a cup. So this is basically, Back up a second. All right, I made a mistake. Before you put the passata in, you want to add your vino. So thank God I didn't put all the passata in. So let's add the vino.
I was wondering if that's not a cup. That's why.
Yeah, no, I made a mistake. So
you all make mistakes.
yeah, please don't do this. You're going to add about a quarter of a cup of either red or white wine. Every time I make sauce, I always like to add
Red
wine. So we're going to cook the wine. Don't worry about the passata. It's going to mix in there anyway. But I can smell the aroma of the wine. It smells so good. When the aroma of the wine actually evaporates, you don't smell it anymore. And when you don't see the alcohol, and when you don't see the liquid, the alcohol liquid, you know that it's evaporated and you're ready to add the passata. But unfortunately, I did get a little bit of passata in there before I had the wine. So if you see a little bit of liquid left, that could be the passata. So don't worry about it. I know how much I mistakenly put in, and so I know how much I have to wait before I put the sauce in. So remember, when the chopped meat is brown, do not add the sauce in yet, like the mistake I just made. Thank God I caught it when I only added just a little.
Thank God.
Thank God. I add your wine in first. Again, you can use white wine. Most people do use white wine. I always use red wine. I like red wine in cooking. I like white wine to drink. So I added about a quarter of a cup of white wine.
Red wine.
Red wine. Once the red wine evaporates, then we're going to add the passata. So when we come back, we'll check it. Okay, so we're back. So another way you can tell that your alcohol is evaporated, when you pull this down and there's no liquid. When you pull up, there's no liquid. So the alcohol is totally evaporated. The only kind of liquid you're seeing in here is probably that little bit of passata. But if you notice, no liquid.
Very good.
So now you're ready to add your your cup of passata. So I already added a quarter. I'm going to add a tiny bit more. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Going to give it a quick mix. You want to incorporate all this with the meat. Remember, this is not going to be soupy. I mean, it's going to start off soupy a little, but we want a lot of this to evaporate.
And thicken.
Right. Remember, we're going to be stuffing this into a rice ball, so this is a basic ragu right here. This is a basic ragu. This can go over any pasta dish. Of course, you're going to have to let it cook. I'm going to cook this for probably about an hour.
Why?
Because I'm not making a bolognese. I'm making a ragu.
Why?
So I'm going to put this on medium low. And what I'm going to do is add my last bit of seasoning. And I put the Italian seasoning. So we'll get that in there. And then I'll check and see if I need more passata. But I don't think at this point I do. Yeah, yes. I don't know. Don't worry. I got someone to clean. It's the guy holding the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
This
store. So this is absolutely the way you want it to look. It actually, I wish they had smell. You could smell this because it smells absolutely delicious. I can actually have this over pappardelle right now because it's almost like a bolognese. So now the last thing I'm going to put in before I let it cook for about an hour is I have 1 cup of frozen peas. I would recommend using frozen peas and not the peas that are in the can. The peas in the can are very soft already. These have been frozen. These are going to cook very, very nice. I got about a cup. We're going to add a cup of peas into there. Okay, we'll do this. Going to give it a quick stir.
I give one to Debbie.
Oh yeah, you can definitely give one to. You can actually give Debbie a couple.
She'll love it.
That's what I do. I cook, and sometimes I cook so much that me and Jimmy can't always eat everything that I cook because sometimes I make desserts and we're trying to watch our weight. We're trying to, get it. I want to say a little healthier. As you can see, I'm cooking this right here, but you can't eat this every day. But I do give a lot of the food that I cook, I give to my neighbor. Okay, so I have to cook this for about another hour, and I see that it's drying out. The liquid is starting to leave as it is. So I'm just going to add another half a cup. How much do I have left? No, I'm not going to add. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to add the whole bottle. Remember, this is going to add, and then to clean it out, add a tiny bit of water. Shake it up and put it in. You don't waste Italians, don't waste anything. Okay, so see, even with that, I would recommend using 1 bottle of passata. Remember, this is going to reduce.
Hope so.
Yeah. This is going to reduce nicely. Okay. And now we're just going to let that cook for probably about an hour until it actually reduces. And the only thing you're going to have left basically is that beautiful meat with the peas, the carrots, the celery, and the onions. Then we're going to put that aside, and then we're going to start making our rice. But first, the most important thing is we got to make the ragu. So come back, and the ragu should be done. Okay, so we're back, and if you look, most of the liquid is gone, and this is exactly how... Don't get too close.
I'm
Get
not
it real
really.
foggy.
Don't worry. It gets on
This
fog.
is exactly the way you want it to look. You want it to look just like this. See? Hardly any liquid.
Why?
Because remember, this is going to the rice bowl. If you have too much liquid, it's going to seep through.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I got my bowl on the side. First thing we're going to do is we're going to shut off the heat. Got my bowl on the side. Just put your meat in here.
Want me to pick up maybe? Oh, I can.
Actually, you know what? Make it easier.
Go ahead.
We'll just go like this. Okay.
We're
And we're going to wait for that to cool down. Just going to wipe a little bit off here, the side. Okay, so this is the filling of your rice ball right here. So we're going to let that cool down. This is going to be inside the rice ball and also some fresh mozzarella. So when we come back, what we're going to do now is we're going to actually start making the rice itself with the oh God, what the hell is the name of the rice I said? Arborio.
Arborio.
I keep forgetting.
I know, it's first in it goes.
Italian arborio rice. This is the same kind of rice that you use when you want to make risotto, but we're not going to be sitting there adding liquid. This we're going to make the way the package on the back. If you're making just plain rice, you're going to boil the water. You're going to add your bouillon cube. If you have chicken stock, you can boil it in chicken stock. But I have a bouillon cube, so we're going to do that. So when we come back, we're going to actually start doing the rice.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're getting ready to make the rice portion of this. So basically, I have 8 cups of water in a pot, and I'm going to add 2 chicken stock bouillon cubes in there. Let that dissolve. If you have chicken stock, you can actually do this in chicken stock. But I do have chicken stock, but I'm actually going to be using the bouillon cube. So we're going to bring... I was going to do that, Jim.
All right.
See, Jim and me are like, we have to clean as we cook. We don't like mess. Okay, so we're going to wait for these to basically dissolve before we start adding the rice. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the saffron here. So I have a pinch of the saffron, and I'm using the strips. This also does come in a powder, but I'm using the strips. So most people actually take this, put it in a glass, pour some warm water or hot water onto it, and bring the saffron out that way. A better trick to do is I'm going to take 2 pieces of ice, which actually pulls out the saffron a lot better. So I'm going to put my saffron in my glass, and then I'm just going to add my 2 big pieces of ice, and I'm going to let that sit for probably about an hour, and until the ice actually evaporates, and that'll be ready for when my rice is done. So that's a quick way. You'll see, your saffron will actually pull out a lot of its color and a lot of its flavor with ice cold ice. Do it this way. If you're familiar with doing it with the warm water, by all means, continue doing it with warm water. But try this way for one time, and you'll probably never go back to doing it another way. So just leave it on the side and let it sit. Okay, this has come to a boil, and my bouillon cubes have already evaporated. So what I'm going to do now is I have...
Dissolve.
I have 8 cups of aboro rice. 4 cups. 8 cups of water, 4 cups of rice. I'm gonna put my rice in. Gonna give it a quick stir. I'm going to put this on a medium to low heat, and I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to let that cook until all the water has evaporated, and once the water has evaporated, then we're going to start adding the other ingredients inside the rice. Then we're going to put it on a tray. We're going to make the rice actually cool. By that time, the saffron should be ready, and we're going to be, look, see how nice the color's coming out already. So try that way with the 2 pieces of ice. When we come back, the rice should be done. Okay, so my saffron, the ice is melted, so you can see the beautiful color. So you want to use all of this in your rice. So my rice is done.
What about the sticks of saffron in there? That's okay, eat those?
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's going to all dissolve. It's fine. So my rice is done. So this is it. All the liquid basically has evaporated.
Very nice.
So it's very nice. Just gonna mix it around a little. Okay. Remember, we had a bouillon cube in here, actually 2 of them.
Chicken.
So now we're gonna chicken bouillon. So now we're gonna take the saffron, and we're just gonna add that. And
it's pretty powerful, huh?
Yeah, that's all you need is a little.
But it goes a long, long way.
It does. And you'll see it'll start to change color. The rice will start to change like a nice color.
It's like a workout just doing a rice.
Yeah. Don't want to get anything on my stove. Okay. So let's let this sit for a little while before we start adding the other ingredients in.
It'll be cold, isn't it?
It doesn't have to be cold, but we want this to cool down. Gonna have to clean underneath my stove.
You get that blocker that goes to the stove in the cabinet.
Yeah, I know. I have this little gap on the side of my stove, and sometimes when I'm cooking, sometimes food gets down there, and
Once every 2 years we clean it out.
I clean it out like as much as I can. Okay, so this is pretty much cooked, and that's exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be adding in roughly a half a stick of butter. So let's say that's about half. So I'm going to put it in pieces. So we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. About a half a stick. Going to give that another stir. But what I'm going to do is I'll keep using this. So now we added the butter. Let the butter melt. The saffron is still releasing its color. If you notice, it's actually changed a little bit of like a yellowish color, so that's perfect.
Bury the butter, it will melt.
Yeah, we're gonna bury the butter. And now we're gonna add we're going to add cheese. And we're going to add about we add about 2 tablespoons of cheese.
Almost 2 tablespoons.
Yeah, I'll make it 3 scoops.
Jesus.
Can never have enough cheese. Gotta mix it all around. See how nice and yellow it's turning?
Yeah.
Try to get everything mixed in together.
Oh, no, we don't like that.
Bob's Burgers.
These things are saying is TV shows that we watch, so if you don't know what we're talking about,
it's
all
a
right.
lot of the stuff that we talk about that if you don't understand, it's because we're either watching Bob's Burgers or we're watching King of the Hill. Now we're watching...
It was Raymond.
Yeah, now we're back to Everyone Loves Raymond. Okay, so now this is all mixed, and the next step we want to do is we don't need the cheese and we don't need the butter. So the next thing you want to do is you want to get a flat pan and basically just dump it all on your pan. A lot of rice balls.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy said he's going to bring some to work.
I need at least 4.
So we don't need this no more. So now basically you want to just spread it out. I know, it's time consuming when you're making rice balls, but you know what?
Worth it.
Everything good,
Take fun.
it's going to take time.
I was going to say that I guess it was our 43rd anniversary.
Oh, yesterday,
Not that
yeah,
long.
yesterday was our 43rd wedding anniversary. Me and James, we met back in 1982 on April 16th in a bar in Brooklyn called Rhythms. I don't know if everyone remembers. There was a bar in Brooklyn on Utrecht Avenue and 69th Street called Rhythms, and James had just gotten out of the military, and he went there with his cousin, and I met him playing pool.
Yeah.
43 years ago. 43 years ago yesterday. So we really didn't do anything yesterday for our anniversary. So basically this is sort of like an anniversary meal or dinner for me and James. So this is your rice. Okay, we're going to let it sit. We're going to let this cool for a little bit. And I have my fresh mozzarella. I have my stuffing here. And I want to show you, I normally will make my rice balls by hand, but I found these two things, and I wanted to give them a try. Basically, it's an Arancini rice ball maker. Basically, you have a round bottom. So basically, you put the cap on, you fill this in with rice, and then you take this and you plunge down, and it leaves an indentation for you to fill up. And then once it's full, then you take some more rice and put it on top, and then you use this part to finish the circle, take this off, and the rice ball comes out of your hand. And I've never used this before, so I want to try it today. I also have the other one that makes the cone shaped. Again, this has got a bottom which is pointy, which is a cone shape. You fill the rice here. If you can see, it's a little bit pointier than the other one. You push down, fill up what you want, put more rice on top, pat it down with this, and then take this off again, and then the whole thing comes out, and then you can set them.
That's very good.
I'm going to give it a shot, and I'm going to see how these work, because then all my rice balls will come out all the same size and consistent, and I'm going to make both shapes. So when we come back, this should all be cooled, and we'll get started on making the rice balls. So my rice is cooled. I have my fillings here, And I have another pan that I'm going to put them here once I mold them. So the first one I'm going to try is, I'm really going to try the round one first. Okay, and since I'm not rolling it, I don't have to worry about, actually, you should have a little bit of water. You want a little bit of water by you because you want to...
Why do you spray with Pam?
Keep your... No, this is fine. So we're going to give this a shot. Remember, I've never tried this before, so I'm going to give it a shot. So I'm basically going to take some rice, and I'm going to fill this up. Okay. And I'm going to take this little top. I'm going to pull it out. Oh, I think that's coming out pretty good. Actually, yeah. Going to put a little bit of filling in this one. I'm going to put 1 or 2 pieces of mozzarella. I'm going to cover it. I'm going to use this side to cover. Take this off. And this just should come right out.
A little less meat in it.
Yeah, I know. You know what it is? I think it's because I didn't put enough. I put too much rice.
Yeah, you did.
So that's the first one. So, but we're gonna try this again.
Less rice, so it spreads more on
Right,
sides.
so it spreads more. So
And deeper.
let's try.
And deeper.
Let's try another one. So this is the rice mechanism. Okay, so I think what I did was I put too much rice in at once.
Yeah, you did.
I just need to put a little bit like this.
You couldn't spread up to the sides.
Right. Okay, I think that should be enough. Oh, there you go. That's the way you got to do it. See, if you look inside, there's a nice little hole.
That's it.
So now you can fill it.
And it goes down deeper.
And then I'm going to put 2 pieces of mozzi. And I'm going to add a little on top. And then this piece. And there you go.
That's perfect.
And then you just want to round it off.
That's perfect.
Okay. So that's the second one.
That's fucking perfect. I mean, that's perfect.
That really is perfect.
Really
Okay,
is.
so now what we're going to do is, let me wash my hands again. They came out really, really nice. So I'm going to give the original, I'm going to give that a shot.
The cone's the original?
This is the original shape of this right here. So I'm going to fill this. But again, we're not going to fill it all the way. I'm just going to put just enough like that. If I hear it, okay. Look at that, beautiful.
That is.
Really, really nice. I'm going to fill this down there. I'm going to put 1, 2 pieces of mozzi. Then I'm going to and there you go.
That's perfect.
Look at that.
That is freaking perfect.
That is absolutely perfect. That's so nice. I love that. So this is the original, and these are the round ones. So when we come back, I should have all of them made. I am actually, you know what? Let me make one by hand. Let me make one the other way.
I would do that. I would leave it the way it is. You do
Leave
it
it the
so
way it
good.
is?
Yeah, do
Yeah,
it so
they
good.
came out perfect.
That's
I'm not even
crazy.
gonna bother. I'm just gonna leave it the way it is.
They look so freaking nice.
So when we come back, I should have them all made. So come back in about a few minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are my Sicilian rice bowls, and they came out perfect.
Excellent.
They came out all the same size. So now what we're going to do is now we're going to actually bread them. So this is leftover filling. And what I'm going to do is save this because this is going to go over some pappardelle pasta. So that we're going to have for dinner one day during the week. So what we're going to do as far as normally, I mean, I have the breadcrumb here. Normally people would actually bread them in egg. But I'm going to do it the Italian way. And I'm going to actually get 1 cup of flour. And into that 1 cup of flour, I'm basically going to add, I have a cup of water here. I'm going to add half a cup first. I'm going to give that a stir until it starts becoming a paste. This is the way the Italians actually do it. Yeah, this actually makes it more crispier. So we're going to need the other half. We may even need more water, so. But for now, until it looks like a paste. So we're going to just keep stirring this.
That's how they make homemade glue, believe it or not. When you're in elementary school, flour and water, no, it will stick to the rice balls.
Okay, this is still a little bit too thick. Alright, that's still a little bit too thick. I'm just going to add a little bit more water. So I already put 1 cup of water to 1 cup of flour. I'm going to add another 1/4 cup of water. Yeah, see, this is what I'm looking for. And this is the way the Italians in Sicily do it. Okay? So we don't need the spatula anymore. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take one of the rice balls or the cones. We're going to dip it in this flour and water mixture. We're going to dip it in that, and then we're going to roll it into the breadcrumbs, and we're going to put it on the pan. And once we get them all done, then we're going to start actually frying them up. So let me do one of them now for you. So I'm going to take one of these, and I'm actually going to see, so I don't get my hands really. Actually, you can get your hands dirty in here. You can actually shape it. And then you're gonna roll it in breadcrumb.
That's perfect.
And there's one. Perfect. Perfectly done. So
Perfectly round?
yeah, and
wow.
perfectly battered. Because that batter with the flour and the water mixture is actually much better. It actually makes the breadcrumb actually adhere to the rice ball a lot better. I'm going to do one more for you. Let's do a cone shaped one. So we're going to just add that in. We're just going to.
As I was saying, in elementary school, the first thing you learn is put flour, water, and that becomes glue.
Okay.
That's why it's good.
Just make sure it's all covered. It is a little bit messy.
That's perfect.
And there's one of the cone. So
that is so fucking good. Let me tell you, man. Damn.
So when we come back, they should all be breaded. I'm going to bread all of them now. I mean, hopefully Jimmy will help me. Like, I'll dip them in the liquid. He could do them in the flour, but we'll see. So when we come back, they should all be ready to be deep fried. Okay, so I finished basically breading all my arancini. I got the cones. Got about 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of those. And the round ones, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 of those. So I got
20.
Yeah. So Jimmy's going to bring a couple of them to work. I'm going to give 1 or 2 of them to my neighbor. So I got my pot here with the oil. Don't fill it up to the top because remember, these are going to be submerged. Once you put 3 or 4 of them in there, the oil is going to rise. Now, you don't want to overcrowd the oil, because once the oil gets to the correct temperature, which is about 350, if you put too many in at one time, it brings the oil temperature down. So you want to keep it at consistent 350. So I'm going to put basically about 4 in. I'm not going to squeeze in a 5th one, even though I can probably squeeze 5. I'm just going to do 4 at a time. So when the oil is at 350, we'll come back and we'll deep fry our first one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're ready. My oil is at 350. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the first one. And be careful, because the oil is very, very hot. So I'm going to take my first one and I'm going to lower it slowly.
You can hear that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Take the second one. Again, don't crowd it. I would put no more than 4.
How long are you cooking for?
So they're golden.
Okay.
Because remember, we're not cooking these. We're just sealing them and getting them golden. I have another tray here with the a drip screen on top, and I have aluminum foil. You can use parchment paper for the bottom. So we're going to just switch these over. We're going to put this one here, and we're going to put this right here. So that's it. We're going to do 4 at a time, and when we're ready to take the first batch out, we'll come back and we'll show you what they look like, and then we'll just fry up the rest. Okay, so my first batch, I think, is done. So we're going to take the first one out.
Oh, yeah, God, they're not done.
And we're just going to put them on the tray.
Take how long, Vic? About 3 minutes?
About anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah.
You have to eye it, that's
Yeah,
all.
you have to eyeball it, so.
God, they come out so good. I cannot believe that. The first time you're making them, Tim.
Yeah, these are my first. Well, I've made rice balls. I've never made Sicilian rice balls. So basically, it's just time consuming. Look how nice they look.
That's perfect.
So let's put a couple more in. Again, the trick, do not overcrowd the pan, the pot, because you'll lower the temperature of the oil. So I think on this size pot, 4 is more than enough. So, right. So I'm going to set my timer here now for 4 minutes, and we'll cook up the rest. So far they came out good. Once these are done, it's like 2:30. Once these are done, I think we're going to let them cool, and then we're going to actually throw the stuffed shells into the oven, and then we're going to sit down and eat. I'll show you what the stuffed shells look like.
Yeah.
Okay, so my day is over. They are finally all done. Here they are. So they came out absolutely perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually cut one open. Trying to see what one looks like on the inside.
Put a round one.
I am going to do this guy right here. Okay, so let's see what the inside looks like. Look at that. Look at that. That's exactly what they're supposed to look like.
That is fucking perfect.
Absolutely delicious.
Oh my God.
So we're going to have one of these each for dinner. And we're also going to have, just so I'll show you, I didn't do a video on this, but I made this
homemade
this morning. And these are my stuffed shells. So this is going to be for our anniversary dinner. So I got homemade stuffed shells that I made, and now I have my arancini that we're going to have one on the side, and and that's what we're doing for dinner on our anniversary today. Very, very time consuming when you make arancini. They are time consuming, but they are worth it, because this right here in a store, definitely, to get one of these in a supermarket is about $3.75. So just to show you, they are expensive. It's not expensive to actually, rice is not expensive. The breadcrumb people have in their house. So it's like, mozzarella is not expensive. So for the amount of money that you would pay for 4 of these, you could buy all the ingredients and actually make a ton of them and give them out to your friends. Go to a party with a nice, beautiful tray. And these are things that you can pick up and eat with your hands. So a little bit of marinara sauce on the side and you're good to go. So like I said, look how beautiful that inside looks. So I can't wait to bite into it. So I'm going to bite into it when I actually sit down for dinner. So try these at home. Thank you for stopping by and watching this video. Like I say at the end of all my videos, take care of one another, especially now. Peace out.